Welcome to Parametric Design class. We begin with introduction. Over the last few decades, computers replaced many jobs, including those of secretaries, cashiers, telephone operators, and even train conductors. Recently, researchers at Oxford University made a study examining how susceptible different jobs would be to this ongoing process. They found that almost 50% of US jobs, quote, were classified high risk for replacement with automation, and another 19% of jobs at medium risk, end of the quote. The work of the not so distant future will be far different from its current state. After all, ASK stands for Architecture for Society of Knowledge, and to some extent this class aspires to prepare you for this paradigm shift. This paradigm shift is exemplified for me by this image of bullet trains in one of many switch stations in China, which I visited almost 40 years ago for the first time. And recently I travel and experience the new age. The tempo of the transformation is absolutely amazing. Computerization process has been historically confined to routine tasks, but today the algorithms for the big data, as we see here on the picture, are rapidly entering many domains. Reliant upon pattern recognition, computerization can substitute for labor in a wide range of non-routine cognitive tasks. In addition, robots are gaining enhanced sensibility through sensors and dexterity, allowing them to perform broader scope of cognitive, not only manual tasks. The nature of work across many of the disciplines is changing. Connectivity is transforming the nature of contemporary urbanization as well as our lifestyle. Here we have a case of collective intelligence of car-to-go system, which is implemented in many cities and soon to be introduced to Warsaw. This car sharing of small electric smart cars in practically starts a process of elimination of taxi drivers. That's what happens in Vancouver, Dallas or Berlin. This transformation, of course, impacts also the architecture and design. This is interface to the car-to-go systems through your iPhone, where you can book the car, locate it, open it, drive it, and return it in a simplified fashion. So the topics of my few lectures could be encapsulated by this heading: Parametric Design Digital Fabrication. Design digital are the key words, and we begin with parametric aspects of design. Largely digital, contemporary design can be examined from two closely related aspects: parameterization and fabrication. The first is predicate or prerequisite, and second is its consequence. Of course, design process is not linear, it is recursive. It is kind of a loop. And the 20th century greatest architect, Le Corbusier, described it as a pendulum swinging from general to particular and from particular to general. His poem of right angle, Le Poème de l'angle droit, a systemic series of 19 paintings corresponding, was composed in late 40s and early 50s, and it was reconceived again with Verres, and it was conceived, and it was revisited again with Edgar Varèse's poem Electronique in a Brussels pavilion. Today, parametric design is interesting, but like every new technology, it has many problems. Perhaps we are only at the early stage of this new culture, like those who used adjective driverless carriage to describe automobile until Ford T assembly line made car notion mature. Some of the characteristics of this new parametric design culture are combinatorial explosion of alternative possibilities, formally complex geometries, constraint propagation makes adjustment of design criteria or form very easy, generate and test procedure used to limit search and optimization as evaluation process, involving interdisciplinary design team and public in design process is finally feasible. Design feedback and backtracking process is easy due to design process history available at hand. Recursive design process is also encouraged. In the following few lectures, we will try to position algorithmic and parametric culture in context of architectural design. In the first lecture, I will offer overview, an introduction to parametric modeling. The principal reference is Parametric Design for Architecture by Wasim Jabi. Second lecture would address history, dealing with algorithmic thinking and evolution and its evolution. We will review such topics as general system theory, cybernetics, Gordon Pask work at Archigram and AA, Nicolas Negroponte, Bill Mitchell, Shapegrama, Delanda. Principal reference for it will be computational design thinking by Achim Manges, and I will provide you with a reader of selected articles after the second lecture. The third lecture will address tools and case studies. The scripting tools for various 3D platforms differ in their syntax, and we will review few of them. For now, let's keep an important fact in mind. Parametric thinking is not about any one piece of computer software or any one particular syntax, but about the logic. About logic, geometry, typology, and interaction. Some of you might have already have been introduced already to Grasshopper. It will be revealed in detail to you by Jacek Markusiewicz. Apart from the tools, brief discussion of tools in this lecture, I will present several case studies, and those will include already mentioned Le Corbusier Philips Pavilion, Foreign Office Architects Yokohama Terminal, Fukas Shenzhen Airport, Zaha Shoemaker projects, Alpine Museum, and we'll rely mostly on journals, including architectural design and other publications like Acadia. The fourth lecture will include the discussion of digital fabrication and contemporary case studies that take advantage of parametric design in architecture. The references and sources will include our work with Pesto, General Understanding of Robotics, my lecture titled Instrumentalization of Design, new Branko Kolarewicz book titled Building Dynamics, Exploring Architecture of Change, and fragments of Lisa Iwamoto book, which has been already presented in one of your courses. The complete list of references and questions will be handed out at the end of the fourth lecture.